And we are back for another live episode of the Kingdom. We would like to welcome all of our beautiful listeners, friends, pals from across this beautiful country of ours, Manitoba, Sask, Alberta, BC, and of course up on the rock in Newfoundland. Met a guy from Newfoundland last week in Mexico. Great guy. Moved there from Ontario, looking to get out of the city and onto the rock. But anyways, we got a good show tonight. We're talking about a few different things. Reggie's got a lot of golf chat for us tonight. We're without a drums. We're missing drums, but we're going to hold down the fort tonight. So we'll be back in exactly 30 seconds. Reggie will have the intro.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom. As always, my name is Reggie, and I'm joined by my brother Jor. We're the brothers behind King Golf. Unlike we usually do, we're going to send things south of the park to Jor. Jor, what's going on? How is Mexico?
Am I south of the park? I guess it would be.
From me, yep.
Mexico is good. Mexico is a much-needed Mexico for sure. I'll talk about a couple things that happened a little bit later on, but we got back to plus 2 degree weather, which is very rare. Usually when you go away in the wintertime, January, February, you come back, it's like minus 40 degrees. You got to start your car, clean it off, all the snow. So this is nice. No snow, 2 degrees makes a big difference coming home, especially when you're used to that kind of shock of the Mexico. But it was hot. It was nice. We were there for a wedding. Drank a lot of tequila. I forgot how much tequila makes me black out, but it's kind of a weird blackout too. It's not like you completely black out and forget the whole night, but just like here and there, lots of here and there is gone.
It's kind of like a drug almost, honestly. Like it is.
Yeah.
Tequila and homebrew are kind of like their own separate drugs.
But I guess that's why there's a whole bunch of songs about tequila and forgetting things.
Mm-hmm. Your clothes fall off?
It's no joke. I don't think so. Not in the no, not in the not in the public area.
Not in the public eye. Oh boy.
No.
TMI.
Although I was I'm sure Bridge will hate to hear this, but I forget what I was doing. I was in a rush to do something and I was completely buck naked on the little deck that we had there. It was very private, very hard. I mean, there's people walking by, but you have to really look to see inside of some of those decks. We're on the main level. But anyway, she wasn't too happy about that. She thought that I was causing some public indecency. But I was just trying to get some shit done fast. So anyways, we'll talk about the golf stuff later, a little bit later on. I got a cool hole to show that we played on the course. But it was good. Really nice to get away. And what has been happening in Dauphin? Anything crazy?
No, not really. It's been crazy weather though. Holy man. Like it's been it was +8 here yesterday. It's +7 today. Like Dauphin was like the only place, Dauphin and Rossman, I think, were the only place with snow in all of Manitoba, and it's dwindling very fast. It's supposed to be plus for the next 5 days, I think. So totally unusual. I was driving on the gravel roads for about, 60K today, and it was pretty much a swamp the whole way. So it was a little bit different driving in January than we're used to, but no, things are good here. I had the Ukrainian night again on the weekend, the Kings Ukrainian night. That's always a real treat. I think it was sold out. Just a crazy night, a good night for the Kings. Nice to see that rink full again for a night. And other than that, not a whole lot's going on here.
Kings have been hot from what I hear.
Yeah, I think they're like 9-1 in the new year. So
after Doug's return?
Yeah, the return of the king.
Did we ever talk about that suspension on here?
No, we
I
shouldn't.
don't think we need to, but it was
No, if
the
there was
most
ever a
outrageous.
chance of me, if there's ever a chance of me going overboard the other way, that would be the time. So I think we better just cool it.
Okay. Well, we will. I can comfortably say it was the most outrageous decision in possibly hockey history.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, anyways, good to see him back. Good to see the Kings doing well. And do they have another Kubasat toss?
Yep. Oh
What's
no,
the deal?
no Kubasat toss this year. Sorry, I'm sorry. There's a pierogi shootout from center ice and like a tricycle race where you had to put on Ukrainian clothes and race down the ice in a tricycle. But the pierogi shootout was pretty good from center ice.
People shooting pierogies
Mm-hmm.
to try to get in the net?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
they were pizza pops, but I think they're supposed to be pierogies.
oh, I feel like pierogies would be pretty hard to fire.
Mm-hmm. They got another Ukrainian night actually this weekend. It's the Ranger Ukrainian night on Saturday. So
Oh, really?
2 Ukrainian weekends in a row here in Dauphin.
Holy.
Yeah. Also went to that spa again on Sunday at Elkhorn.
Clarso.
For anybody who hasn't been there, you got to get there as soon as possible. It is such a good way to spend a day, especially with these mild temperatures right now. It's a great way that you relax and unwind. Good.
What's the highlight there?
Mm, the highlight would probably be I always like that, like the hot rock beds, like just go in there and snooze on the beds would probably be the highlight. It is probably a step down from Thermia, but even from when we were there in late December till this weekend, like a lot has changed. So obviously they're just going to keep improving it as time goes with everything else. I mean, nothing happens overnight. So yeah, they're making some small changes that are helping a lot, but it's been
Nice.
good. Hmm.
What's the
Nice to
cost
have
there?
a half hour. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
no shit.
like $80. Nice to drive home half hour instead of 4 hours after though, which is good.
Well, usually, especially from Dauphin, if you go into the city for the spa, you're usually getting a hotel room there too, and some
Hmm.
gas and the time. That's pretty
Hmm.
sweet.
Hmm.
Um, sorry, I'm just posting this chat or video somewhere. Okay, where were we here? Let's do a toast. Let's do a little toast to the Kings and to the Ukrainian night, first of all, but then get to the real toast. Do you want to do the toast tonight
Hmm.
or the cheers?
Yeah. So I think we already did the toast to the Kings. They're on an absolute heater. 9-1 since Christmas time. Doug's got the boys buzzing again. The interesting thing about that too is they traded away 3 20-year-old defensemen, and they've kind of the young guys have kind of stepped up and playing a pretty fast game right now. So it's awesome to watch. But the main cheers of the night. I know we've cheers to him many times before, but we have to give a huge shout out to AC. Wow. I mean, playing in a Rolex event and he does that. Finishes fourth with the star-studded field that there was. I mean, Rory won it. Um, Incredible, honestly. Like, and that paycheck, man. I know we've said that he doesn't really have to worry about money lately. He still did to a certain extent. I mean, I think he just made probably more than he's ever made in 1 year in one tournament. So, congrats to him. Cheers to him. It's awesome to see. Uh, Unreal. And it looks like he's in a pretty cool spot this week too in Bahrain. Did you
Yeah,
see that?
saw that. Yep.
Did you watch that video?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So cheers
What
to AC.
what country's that? Cheers, AC.
Bahrain? I don't know what country it's in, but I think it might be its own country, honestly. It said there's only 2 golf courses in Bahrain. Bahrain.
That's a big deal for him. Fourth place. Like, did you look at that leaderboard? I posted it. Like the
It was
top 10.
unbelievable.
There were some big names on that. I'm just gonna read it quickly here because I think it is worth mentioning for sure for historical purposes on the show. We
Yeah,
should do
so
a little pool tonight to see. Everybody can try to guess where drums is tonight.
Bahrain is its own country. It's right beside
Right?
Qatar.
Like irate?
No, it's right beside Qatar.
If you berate someone, doesn't that mean you're like talking down to them?
B-rate, yeah, Bahrain. This is
What do you say?
BAA, Bahrain.
Oh, brain.
They have an F1 race there, though.
I thought it sounded familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the leaderboard that Aaron Cockrell managed to squeak out a T4 in. Number 1, Rory McIlroy. Number 2, Adrian Meronk. Isn't that not the guy who got snipped from the Ryder Cup and shouldn't have probably?
Just went to live this week.
Did he?
Or last week, he was supposed to play the PGA event and he withdrew and then went to live.
Number 3, Cameron Young. Three tied at 4, Joaquin Neiman, AC, and Pablo something. Haitong Lee, number 7, Adam Scott, and rounding out the 10s is Nikolai Hogard. Pretty good company for a kid from Toulon, Manitoba, I would say.
Have you heard of any of those guys? Holy. Man, after that event, he was in the top 10 in the race to Dubai. He's 9th. Hot start to the year for the kid.
No doubt.
It seems like things are trending right now. It seems like Chelsea and the little one are kind of getting more comfortable being over there, which is in turn making him more comfortable. He talked about it too, I think, in an interview there.
Mm-hmm.
Just that they're there. He's doing stuff with his kid and kind of takes his mind off golf. He said when he's alone, he thinks about golf a lot more, but when he's got his kid there, it kind of gives him a little refresh from golf, and he just enjoys that and then gets back down to business. And obviously, it's got to be a lot easier for him having his family there as opposed to halfway across the world or all the way across the world in some cases. So
Definitely.
It's awesome. Yeah.
You got a baby girl at home, you want to be spending as much time as possible with her. And I'm sure there was a little bit of guilt there, but I mean, he's not the only person to go through that. Every pro athlete in the world is kind of going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty fortunate, I think, to have the girls there to cheer him on and be there for him. It's got to be a pretty good feeling.
The one thing too, I guess, that he's probably got a little different than the other pro athletes is just that he's playing in Europe. And his kid is in Canada, like at least with like NHL players and those guys, like they get to see their kids half the year.
True.
Or
more,
obviously more, but yeah, so you could tell, I mean, and we talked about it on here before, it kind of makes what he did last year even more impressive, fighting through that, and he just looks a lot more comfortable this year. And I love the way his social media is trending. I love everything like that. Like he's kind of evolving right in front of our eyes right now. The videos, like the little montages that he's posting, are sick, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to be Dykeman, I think, right?
Pardon me?
It's got to be Dykeman doing that, I think, right?
I thought it was Golf Highway.
I think he is traveling with him, isn't
he? What was it like tracking him this week?
This past week?
Yeah. Did
or
you
like
think
the
he
fourth
ever had
one?
Number 4 or T4. Did he ever have like a sniff?
Well, it was kind of through the night. Like those rounds were kind of through the night. So I'd kind of just wake up and see it. But
4 back? He was behind Rory, 4 back?
Yeah, 4th was the highest he got. So
we'll take it.
Looks like he made another pretty good projection about it being Rory's year. Holy man, is he hot out of the gates.
Yeah, well, he's due for sure.
Mm-hmm. Things are getting a little easier with these guys defecting to live too.
Yeah, no shit. Should we talk about the live? We might as well. We don't have drums here.
Oh, we'll talk. I think you were going to talk about. Were you going to talk about Nipo or leave that for? Oh, okay.
That wasn't.
Yeah, we could talk about live then. Oh, okay. I wondered. I went to open the agenda again. And I saw that it disappeared. I was like, "What? Did I do that?" No, we could talk about live. Hatton's gone.
That's a tough loss.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But yeah, they just it's continuing. Like maybe Rom, obviously, it's a little different story. That losing him is losing a lot. I mean, that guy's a beauty. But like Hatton's kind of a controversial guy as well. Like I know we love him, but there's probably lots of people that don't like him because of the way he is. Like it just seems like they get all the controversial guys, right? And then Smith and Rom. Like pretty much everyone else over there could be hated or loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the way I look at that is like I just feel like the PGA had such an opportunity with some of these guys, like Hatton, and they just didn't
Yeah.
do anything with it. They kind of
Yeah.
like they just pretended he wasn't there. I just even the DP World Tour, they were pretty hard on Hatton in terms of like getting him on social media and doing
Mm-hmm.
interviews with him, just letting him be himself. And it just seemed like the PGA for the last as long as I can remember, just like suppress their guys who want to be
Mm-hmm.
like that. They want everybody to be this picture perfect image of what they think the PGA should represent. And I get that. But at the same time, it's like people want the Ty Hattons of the world. I
Yeah.
do personally.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of my favorite guys to watch
Mm-hmm.
because you never knew what was going to happen. I don't care how good Scotty Scheffler can hit an iron. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Oh,
fair.
tough loss.
So
Drake
there's
said he
a
should have gotten 40 more than 50 mil. I think so too. What did
yeah,
Brombo end up with? Like 600 mil?
I think it's something crazy like that.
It's crazy that we're even
Uh,
tossed around those kind of numbers, but
so this is what did you see that the partnership with PGA today?
I saw they raised some funds.
Like they partnered with a bunch of billionaires in the States basically.
I
Um,
just saw that they raised $3 billion in private equity funding.
yeah, I think the value of the tour is at 11 billion now, and I think that the top 180 on the PGA or 180 golfers are going to benefit from it. Obviously, the top getting more, but they're all independent shareholders in that after today. And Max Homa tweeted, "I know everyone's sick of hearing about how much more money golfers are getting. My optimism lies in the main point of which is we now have very savvy and experienced stakeholders who have a lot more incentive to improve the product creatively and make it better for the fans." And then somebody tweeted at him, "How are the fans benefiting from any of this, Max?" And he said, "Because this investment group isn't just donating money; they want to make money. So they need people to watch golf to make money. So they'd better do a damn good job to make this more watchable and entertaining for the fans." And maybe that's what it's going to take because that's what we always talk about on here. The PGA just needs a better marketing. I mean, we said that with the DP World Tour when it was still the European Tour, I think, at the time, honestly. Like it's kind of been a long time coming, and they're not marketing their players good enough. They're not marketing the game good enough, and maybe it'll take something like this to kickstart that aspect of it. It sucks that they already lost those guys, but I mean, I feel like my view of it is that the PGA is gonna completely rebrand everything, hopefully, for a better product. And I think that eventually the live guys are just gonna start filtering back over, and it's gonna be one tour in 5 years, and it's gonna be the PGA.
You might be right.
But better off. And I think, like you said before, and I've admitted to that Phil probably did a lot of good for the PGA and a lot of good for these golfers here by exposing a lot of things. And obviously, it's coming to that now that they've given the PGA players profit sharing in that, which is nice. Like it's yeah, there's no denying it. I have to eat crow with everything I said at the start, but um, yeah,
How's it taste?
yeah, it is what it is.
You want to answer
Drake,
this
I think it
question?
Drake, I think it stands for double. No, I don't know what it stands for, honestly. So Drake asked in the chat, what does DP stand for? I don't know. On that same topic, um, it was announced. When was it, on the weekend or last week?
Sometime.
AK Could
feel like
be
that was sorry.
making his way back to professional golf.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's one of those moments in your life where you would remember where you were at that time. You were so jacked up about it.
I think it might have been Saturday night or Friday night. I was pretty
So
jacked up.
Anthony Kim, I don't like a lot of people who are watch golf now. I mean, probably not who watch this show. I think we got some pretty seasoned golf fans who tune into this. But like a lot of people might not even know who AK is.
Yeah.
Who is he?
I guess he was probably I explained to somebody the other day, he was probably one of the most in the last 20 years, probably if not the most likable player on the PGA. I was gonna say the next Tiger in terms of likability. And I mean, I don't think I'm too far off by saying that. Like I think he was the kind of the one guy that had a chance to compare to Tiger in likability, and then he kind of missed a few tournaments in a row, and then all of a sudden he was just gone off the face of the earth, just disappeared.
And do we know exactly what happened with him, or is that still kind of a mystery?
He had a wrist injury,
Oh,
and
right. Right.
he had had an insurance policy on it that stated that it would pay him X amount of money per year for the rest of his career if he never touched the club again, if he never played professional golf again. So he just went off into the distance.
It's kind of crazy to think about that story. And then if you compare that to like the live guys taking a lot of money for going to place, like they're still playing golf, they're still doing that for a living, they're doing it for
Mm-hmm.
money. He did the
Mm-hmm.
exact same thing, except he just said, I'm not golfing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like and people just kind of like brushed it off. I don't know. It's just the whole live thing was kind of overblown, as I've said 100 times on here, but
I
it's the
think that
same
he
thing.
maybe thought at the time. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, when you got a check waved in front of your face, like people act differently than you would want them to sometimes.
Well, the whole world's driven by money. I mean, that's a reality. People go to work every day for money, and these guys got an offer to get paid less or get paid more to work less.
I wonder if he regrets it.
I think that from what I gathered, anyways, at the time, and still do think, like, I think that he probably thought that he was at the peak of his career, so that the insurance policy was probably at its peak for what he'd get paid per year, and he was scared that with the injury he had, he kind of battled for a little bit to try to get over the injury, and he maybe thought that he could never get back to where he was anyways. This was guaranteed money for the next X amount of years.
Who does that sound like?
Yeah, true.
Brooks Kapska? Kapska?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Except there's an injury involved. It's not just
No, but
come
that's
play
what
for a
happened with
tour.
Brooks too. Didn't he have an injury that he was getting over?
Yeah.
And he wasn't sure if he could still compete on the PGA like he did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, it's pretty exciting. So how is
Mm-hmm.
he able to come back now then?
I think he has to pay $10 million to come back. I'm pretty sure, but
Wow.
I also heard that Liv is offering the $10 million. They'll pay it up front and then pay him an amount of money. And I also heard that the PGA will pay him. But this is all reporters talking shit, that the PGA would pay him like whatever it was in appearance fees for his first 10 tournaments to get him out of that hole. Which, I mean, he probably deserves it, honestly. If he's going to play for 10 tournaments, he probably deserves it. The amount of money that he's going to bring in is going to be worth way more than that.
Yeah. He was
Be
a Nike
interesting
guy
to
too,
see.
right?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Nike
we
would cover that pretty quickly, but maybe Nike's getting out of golf now.
I think TaylorMade should.
Yeah.
With
Nike kind of transitioned
what they
into
designed.
TaylorMade.
With what they designed. Did we talk about that on here already?
What?
That SDR?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
That new Tiger logo that got trademarked.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I don't know if we talked about it. I don't think we did.
No. That's horrible, man.
I
Wow.
think that was just right after the last show we did came out.
I think it was the next day.
You don't like it?
I don't mind the logo itself, but the one that says SDR on it,
I didn't see that one.
like Sunday Red. Oh my god.
Let's
Like,
bring it up. I got a couple things to bring up here, anyways. Reggie, we might not have time to do the local or the networking stuff tonight.
yeah, we can. I could skip my stroke saver.
Okay.
This.
I'll bring it up on here because I got a couple things to talk about, anyways. Or bring up on here. What's it called? SDR?
Look, it's right here.
Oh yeah. Must be like
Like,
Chinese
that's
or something.
terrible, man. Holy. They
I kind of like
trademarked
that
that.
tiger though.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, just that. Definitely. But why just throw in just 3 random letters S? Like, that is like, what are we doing here?
It must be symbolic of something. It has to be.
You'd hope, but I don't know. Slazenger, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay, Reggie, this is around the green segment, by the way. We never officially announced it, but Drums isn't here tonight, so this is our version of around the greens. We're going everywhere. I'm gonna show you folks, you guys and girls, quickly one of the holes I played in Mexico. I didn't know this was a hole there until we got to the hole. But we played the PGA Riviera Maya. That's what the course was called, by the Baja Principe, which is the resort that we stayed at, right across the road.
What was it called, sorry?
The PGA Maya Riviera.
Oh, I just went and played there when I was there.
Oh, yeah, right. I remember that. So this is the hole 6. It's a par 4,
So
432 yards. And the green here, just on the left side of the green, is a cave.
that's so sick.
Like it doesn't look like a whole lot from this picture, but it probably drops, I'd say, 30 to 40 feet just left of the green. So I hit a decent drive. I had like, no, I actually hit a shitty drive, but I was in play. So I had like 200 yards into this hole, and it's got such a weird angle. There's like trees kind of right here. So you have to go at the flag on this hole. So I hit one from like 200 out. I landed about right here on the front part of the green, rolled, and I kind of ended up in these rocks here. It held up there, but it stayed in the rocks. So I couldn't hit it. So I had to take an unplayable there, and I chipped in for par.
No way.
So that was my hole 6. Yeah, took a free, or it wasn't a free drop. I took a 1-stroke penalty to take it out of these rocks here, and then chipped her in for par. The pin was about over here.
Unreal.
So that was
how'd you
hole 6.
play?
I played as good as you can with a set
Rentals?
of regular rentals.
What kind of clubs?
They were nice clubs. They were tailor-made stealths, I think.
Nice.
This was no 15.
Wow.
This was this is the picture I sent you with that lizard in
Par
the
3?
video.
Yeah.
Yeah. 245 yard par 3, dead into the wind. The tee box is up here.
You guys
And
played
the
the
whole
tips?
thing is water. What's that?
You guys play the tips?
No, but we played the second last, the blues. So it was like 230, I think.
That's actually sick. And it was into the wind. Did you hit driver?
No, I hit a 4-iron actually. I just hit it as hard as I could, and I got to about right there.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So
that was the Baja Principe. Pardon me?
I would have had to hit a driver.
I thought about it, but I don't love drivers into the wind, honestly. So iron was the play. So the price tag was about 200 and some bucks, which is steep. I hate paying that much for golf, but I was telling Drake you could have paid 350 bucks and played there all week.
Really? Just whenever you wanted?
So if you're going to, I would say like if you're going to Mexico with, a couple buddies or spouse, like take your clubs, stay at this Baja Principe. It was a really nice resort. And you can play as much as you want, like go every morning while, the women are at the pool or whatever they're doing.
It's expensive resort though, isn't it? Or
It,
did
I
you
mean,
stay there?
yeah, it's probably,
Oh, that was at your resort?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, it's all part of the same kind of group, Baja
So the
Principe.
350 would only be for like residents, right? Or like
I'm thinking so. Yeah.
locals?
Like
Like
resort.
you couldn't stay down the road and come play there every day.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. Still a sick deal though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 220 or 230 and then 350 for the whole week. It was fun. It was really hot. But that's that.
Um that looked like a sick course. I'm definitely gonna play there one day.
We're
Okay.
oh, you
Sorry, I
gotta
just go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, what's the pebble on the list here?
Yeah, I was panicking while you were talking about that because I was looking for this. I thought I saw it on Twitter, but it was actually on the score. So we've talked in the past about the Pebble Pro Am, about how it's more or less just a joke. They play the 3 rounds with the amateurs, and it's kind of like a what we always said we kind of wanted a better event at Pebble, and we thought Pebble deserved a better event.
Yeah.
So in the past, they've played 3 rounds. It was always Pebble, Spyglass, and the Monterey Peninsula course. This year, they've made it a signature status. So that means that only the top 80 in the PGA are there. And they've cut it down to only Pebble Beach and Spyglass. And the amateurs only play Thursday, Friday.
So they have
So
beefed it up a little bit.
it's brought it out to be a way more competitive event. They've basically attracted guys that they never had before, because guys just kind of saw it the same way we saw it, as kind of just a joke of a tournament. It looks pretty sick, man. Like some of the feature groups, I know the PGA is getting shit on right now with all the guys going to live, but like Rory's playing with Auberg this weekend, which is kind of sick. Still like Hovland and Cantlay, Scheffler and Rose, Morikawa, Finau. Schauffele's playing with that Nick Dunlap. He turned pro after he won the event as an amateur. He has turned pro now and he's playing in this tournament. Pretty sick. I don't know. I think this is going to bring a little more to this event, which is kind of what we always said we wanted, which is good. I think these signature events are going to be good.
I mean, Pebble's such a sick course. Why wouldn't they be playing a competitive event there every year? I just don't understand it. I mean, there's reasons for it, I'm sure. There's people much smarter than me making the decisions there, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
It's going to be an absolute grind there this weekend.
Why?
Like, because it's like Finau hit a driver on 7 today. Like that little short par 3.
Oh, it's so windy.
Yeah, like it's storming so bad he hit a driver there.
Shit. Oh, I might watch it then. I like that kind of stuff.
That's that hole that what's his name was trying to make the ace on.
Oh, in the sim?
Jersey. I can't remember his name now. He was famous for like a day.
Be crazy to see like what's gonna come of that for him. Like, is that just kind of like his one
Jersey Jerry?
Right. Is he done now, or is he gonna like have some royalties paid off of that forever?
I think that he's gonna have royalties, and I think that he's already kind of he's had a couple things since. I think. Jersey Jerry.
Yeah,
He's up to 200. He's up to 202,000 followers now. He was trying to do something else the other day though, and I forget what it was. It was freaking hilarious, man. It doesn't matter. We don't need to talk about him. He won $51,000 on a bet. So obviously he's got some money to play with now.
We could do that at the Rossburn Sim, the Swingers Club. We could do a hole in one. I'm
I
sure
was
they'd
thinking about
be.
maybe coming there next weekend, or not next weekend, but the weekend after, like the 17th weekend.
You should, man. It's a good.
Get some
It's a
golf
good
in.
spot. It's like you got the whole curling rink, the whole lobby there. You can bring some food in, some. I don't know the rule on beers. I shouldn't say it on live TV, but a couple beers maybe.
Maybe even this weekend.
Yeah, you should.
Easton's curling in a Bonspiel, so
Okay, Reggie,
see.
let's get to the. What were we saying?
Oh, I just said Easton's curling in a Bonspiel this weekend, so I got nothing going on.
I was gonna ask you. I had this thing to bring up, but I think we'll skip it because we don't have a whole lot of time here. But did you see that Live versus PGA Ryder Cup matchup?
Yeah.
It's getting more and more interesting, I think, by the month here in terms of who. I wonder what the odds would be in Vegas for if it actually happened. I think that'd be a lot more interesting, honestly, than the Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
That would be so. After everything that's happened in the last couple of years and the animosity between the two tours, I just think that would
Be
be
wild.
such a huge event, and everybody would be watching it too. I
Yeah,
think
it would be.
that should be like the if they're ever to merge, I think that should be like the last or right before they do it, do one of those events
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
who was who was the better tour.
That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, this golf networking thing here. So this is going to be a fun one. We're going to zip through these, I think. We're going to do a whole show on this one time, but I think it is good just to get it out there. Wanted to do it today, start of the year, just to kind of get it fresh into people's heads. And I think that this is going to be something that people can kind of come back to. I would. Before you're going to like a golf tournament with your company, or if you're going with somebody else's company, and if you're not overly familiar with golf, this is kind of who this is designed for. And just a couple good reminders as well. This is written by our good buddy Rubes, Adrian Rubinek. So there's some really good commentary. I think we're going to read it kind of as he put it, word for word, and then we can kind of talk through it. But I think this is going to be a really good resource for people, for a couple laughs, and for people who are not overly familiar with golf and how you should be acting in terms of. I don't want to say that, but you'll kind of understand it. I think that you can come back to this and revisit it before any tournaments and stuff that you play in the summer, just for some good reminders. So I'll kick things off here. This is basically he called it the golf commandments for potential customers. So if you work for a company, I really believe that golf is the best way to network. I think that there are a few other good things. There's the wine and cheeses, the lunches, all that kind of stuff. But I think that if you get if you're on a golf course with somebody for 4 or 5 hours, sitting beside them in the cart, I just think that you get such a good understanding of what kind of person they are. And I think that, the better you can understand somebody on each side of the business deal, I think the more benefit you're going to have in that relationship. So that's kind of the idea here. This is for taking out customers, going to golf tournaments. And this was written by our good pal, Adrian Rubinek. And believe it or not, we're actually going to have him on the show to talk through this all himself, but he bailed like 2 times. And I said 3 strikes, you're out. And he bailed one more time. And so he got the official boot in the ass, gonzo. So this is the first one here. Number one, if you're asking out a new customer for a round, you're paying for it. That includes all meals and beverages during. Might be the best $200 or $400 you spend on business development, and a lot more memorable than dropping off some donuts and coffee at their office. Ain't that the truth? That's kind of what I was just referring to, but I do think that it is such a good investment if you're actually pursuing a business relationship. Taking somebody out on the golf course, depending on what course you're at, it's going to be a little bit pricey, but your company should be covering all those costs. And that's just kind of part of the experience of being there as a guest.
Agreed.
I've kind of been on both sides of the thing, and that's just kind of goes with the territory. So
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way to do it, honestly. if you're taking them out. You have to pay for everything. Number 2, offer best ball / scramble. If they don't know what their handicap is or what a handicap is, it's a red flag. Assume the worst. Lots of guys / gals embarrassed to go out since they aren't good. Get them out there and share how bad you were. And share how bad you were at times. If you're still bad like me, laugh and share the camaraderie of sucking.
I love how this whole thing's written.
When I said camaraderie, I meant camaraderie.
That is a good idea, though. That's something I never really thought about before because, if you are a decent golfer, it is quite uncomfortable when you're playing with somebody who's not as skilled at golf
Mhm,
or newer to golf, I guess you'd say.
mhm.
So that might be a good idea if there are some people you want to be meeting and getting to know a little bit better. Just get a foursome out there, play like a 2v2, and try to find a way to work them into the game. I think as much as possible without without being awkward about it. But I do think that that's a great idea. The best ball.
Yep, agreed.
Number 3, no gambling unless they are a stick, relative same handicap, and is verified. On follow-up calls and meetings, ask if they've been out. Usually give you an idea if they are decent. So he says they usually pick how much you want to play for. This is the one part where you can get away from your service commitment. If it's too much, offer something lower. Oil guys love a $10 per hole. I usually counter with 5 with a couple fun events. Longest drive, closest twos. You get the idea. This portion of it they don't own you. Put your foot down, but always try to play for something. Shows a compete level and goes a long way with pursuing business.
Goes down to 5, he says. It's funny, like, as I'm reading this, like, I'm actually reading in Rubes' voice and
Yeah, me
listening
too.
to it when you're reading in his too. Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, I think there always has to be something on the line. Kind of keeps interest and it doesn't just turn into hole 14. You're just trying to get off the course because that
Right.
happens in a lot of rounds as well.
Yeah. But you also can't, on the flip side of that, you can't be too because
Oh no,
people get too competitive. Some people do anyways. And if you're playing for bigger amounts of money, it just kind of defeats the whole purpose of it.
yeah. Number 4, their time, their place. Might be on off shoot times. Respect it. Again, might be the best investment you ever make. Companies see this. Conquer is your friend. After an initial round, try to get them to do it on company time. Golf / getting paid is a true Canadian double.
This is such good stuff. So he's saying, I guess we should maybe be, I don't know, translating these in terms of like what the hell he's trying to say here. But I think he's saying that you should be on their schedule and wherever they want to play so that they're the most comfortable there.
Right.
And I mean, if you can sneak around in for both sides, make it work during work hours, you're double dipping, you're getting paid and golfing at the same time. The Canadian
Mm-hmm.
double. Okay. Front nine. Number 5, front nine is for getting to know them. Good time to tell them a little about you. You are the first product, not the products you are eventually going to try to sell them. Don't bring in business solutions, mission statements, what you can do for them, yada, 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 until back nine. If you sit down for lunch and they never reached out to you about potential business opportunities with them, carry that to the back nine. So use the front nine to get to know each other a little bit, sell yourself, I guess, as the guy from your company, and then use the back nine for the more business chats.
Product, yeah. That makes sense. You don't want to go golfing with a guy who tries to sell the product right on the first tee, and then it's 18 holes of him trying to do the same thing. Got to
Yeah,
get to know each other.
you
Is I
know,
think the point of this.
it's going to be a long round when that happens,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that smart guys, anyways, or guys with common sense can, if they try to do that in the first hole and then it just kind of gets weird after that, then they don't do it
Mhm.
at all,
Mhm. Yeah,
which is not
exactly.
really beneficial either.
Yeah.
Slow play.
Number 6, business talk while waiting for groups. When I set up tee times, I try to put myself in high traffic times behind 2 or 3 groups. Gives you some lounge time usually at the start of each hole. This is the golden hour to start infiltrating their mind on what you can do for them. Business talk on the greens, not on the greens. Or not business talk on the tees, not on the greens. Smart.
That's a very good it's kind of cool just to see, because I mean, when you golf, when you do this stuff, quite a bit, you kind of take for granted these kind of things, but that is absolutely true. You don't want to be talking things on the greens ever. But when you are waiting for groups, that is the time to be talking to each other and getting to know each other a little bit. And that's a really smart move, setting up tee times at high traffic times. So you are waiting a little bit. I think it's
Mhm.
different if you're playing in a tournament or an event where you're trying to stay in the rhythm of everything and stay, loose. And but with this kind of stuff, that's kind of what you're out there for, is not to shoot the best score of your life, but to try to get to know them. And I think that is kind of the best way to do it, is on the tees while you're waiting for the group ahead of you. So that's a great tip.
Mhm.
Number 7, go for go drink for a drink with them. Oh, I see what he's saying. Go drink for drink with them, or don't drink at all. Whatever they are doing, you can do. So you're mirroring what they're up to, pretty much. That reminds me of The Office, when Andy Bernard, I think, takes a job at the Scranton branch, and that's one of his techniques, is mirroring Michael Scott. It just drives him fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what a show.
So whatever they're doing, you're doing. Offer taxis at the end of the round and be persistent. They take them. Goes a long way to show your character of integrity. That's a great call. Management will never turn down a taxi ride home from an event, especially for customers. Very good tip.
Very good.
Not like you said, not only for getting them home safely, that is obviously the main goal there, but it does. Like, if you're persistent with it and just say, like, get home, we're paying for it, I think that they'll think about you in a different light, in a good way.
Mhm. Mhm.
And even if it takes them till the next day or the next week for that to
Think
kind of
about it.
sink in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, definitely. I think that too, just on that topic, I know we don't have a whole lot of time to dive into, but I think that that's one thing that's kind of gotten what a little more common than it probably should nowadays. I don't know why it's become such a thing, but I just feel like so many people. Uh, I don't want to say drunk drive, but have a few too many that they know they shouldn't be driving, but everybody kind of does it anyways. And it's not until you see a buddy go through a DUI that how much it actually affects your life, and how much cash it's going to cost you, and how much it's going to affect your life for the next 10 years. Um, and that's actually my one of my biggest goals in 2024 is just to not do that anymore ever again. Just because it's the price you pay for it definitely isn't worth it, especially here in Dauphin. Like, it's a $10 cab anywhere, and you can get where you need to be. You can get your vehicle in the morning. It's just not worth it. Sorry to dive into that, but
Well, you can walk
it's
to it usually too.
it's become way too common. I feel like for people nowadays.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Number 8, don't cheat at all. Should be pretty standard, but I've run into stories on how guys I work with don't like a guy because he cheated on the golf course. Again, back to the integrity value. This is so true, man. Like, there's guys that we talk about from when we were kids that cheated on the golf course. I mean, cheating on the golf course stays with you forever, man. It really does,
It
and
does.
you don't want that with your customers or people, potential clients, or anything like that.
It,
Definitely not with them.
it's crazy. Like, I mean, you think about, we've been on this earth for a while, 30 some odd years. And, there's been a lot of instances where guys cheat on their girlfriends cheat on their boyfriends. I don't really remember those. But I remember who cheated in a tournament when I was 8 years old. Like
Mhm.
golf is, and you know, at the start of this segment, we talked about spending 5 or 6 hours with somebody and really getting to know them on a different kind of level. And I think that who people are on the golf course is a really good representation of who they are off the golf course.
Mhm.
And it's a really good reflection of their character in terms of, if you can't trust them on the golf course, can you trust them in a
Anywhere?
in a business relationship?
Mhm. That's a good one.
So that's very true. It's just there's just no point to it. That's like what do you stand to gain from it?
Mhm.
There's
Anytime, yeah.
the risk reward there is just not it doesn't make
Mhm.
sense.
No, it's a game.
Oh, yeah, you're out there for shits and gigs. Number 9, at the end of the round, always offer a second round and ask if they want to have a drink or two afterwards. If you did it right, they take both these offers every time, and you're in, my friend. You did it.
Nothing better than a 9 after an 18 or even a full 18 after an 18. It's like that's gotta be one of the best things on the planet Earth. And if your customers wanna do it with you, then that's a bonus. You're
I
in.
think he means drinks, though.
I don't think so. At the end of the
Oh,
round, always
yeah,
offer
you're
a
right.
second round.
You might be right here.
Mhm.
That'd be a heavy day, though. 36 holes with somebody.
Mhm.
Maybe 9. Maybe he's talking like 9 holes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like
Or
36 holes with somebody you don't really know that well could be, I don't know.
could be good though too.
Could be good.
This is a big one, I feel like. Don't
Yes.
tell you the score if they played individually and they suck shit. It's like me letting in 9 goals and then hearing about it afterwards. I know I suck. They know they suck. Don't rub it in. Nothing a few after round beers can't fix. This I feel like this is like not only important in this with customers, I feel like this is like a golf, like all
Yes.
golf, all rounds of
Yeah.
golf. There's nothing worse than the guy that careers and you play a shitty round and he's got to sit in the clubhouse and, oh, this is what I shot. This is what you, okay, good for you, buddy. I'm proud of you. Like, get lost. Like,
Yeah. I agree. And
never, yeah.
I think that you should be able to kind of feel that out yourself too.
Hmm.
Because you can usually tell after playing 18 holes with somebody if they were better or worse than they usually are.
Hmm.
And if it's borderline, you can add up the score and announce them if you
I
want
think,
to.
I think even in that case, I think you say, do you want to know what you shot?
Yes.
I think is a good line. Do you want to know what you shot or you don't care? And then they would say, I don't care. I know what I shot. You don't have to add it up.
Yeah.
I feel like, anyways.
Good call. Good call, Reggie. That is a good one. That we're gonna put that one in bold. Maybe we'll do a little post on this tomorrow on Instagram. I think that some of
Hmm.
these are actually pretty valuable for people. With credit to Rubes, of course.
Yep.
Number 11, when you're out, share your experiences of golf. Tell them the places you've traveled, the fellas you met, and the funny stories along the way. This is the perfect opportunity to show them who you are and how cool and confident you can be. We all have stories, so share them. This is probably something that I'm not overly great with, honestly. Um, and I mean, I just think that you shouldn't be showing off too much of where you've been. Like if you want to comment on something to see, what's the coolest course you've ever played. And I guess it kind of depends how the whole conversation's going, but I think the key there for me is always just like to ask them about their experiences too. Don't just be the guy who's just telling s- stories over and over and over again. Because even though it might appear that they're really enjoying, in the back of their heads, they're thinking, okay, like shut the fuck up for a while here. Let me either golf or let me talk for a while. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm not
So,
great at that either. I'm really
but
not
I,
great
I
at
do
it, actually.
think that the one thing that golfers do really well together is like talk about golf trips and talk about courses and like,
Hmm.
um, share your experiences there too, and like what courses were good, what you did, what you learned there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the last one here is a good one.
Last one here is don't be a fucking idiot, especially at golf tournaments you're invited to. I see chemical guys get too drunk, bitch about business to the wrong customer, and lose the business the next week because they were mouthing off. Should be self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised. You're your brand, an extension of your company's brand. Agreed.
Great way to end it, I think. That probably is one of the most, even going back to the don't cheat part of things that stand out to me are people who are like way too obnoxiously drunk at golf tournaments. Like I can think of like 5 people off the top of my head who I remember at certain events that were way too drunk and making an absolute clown of themselves. And that's the kind of stuff that you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
is this the first time you've had a beer in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not a cool thing to be a part of, honestly.
Yeah.
So whatever
Truthfully,
whatever that takes.
I've been there. I've been that guy, but I also didn't have a job at the time. I was a teenager, not a 45-year-old.
Me too.
At
I'm
an
not
event.
talking
Yeah.
about kids. I'm talking about
No,
like
that.
grown men.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I think we've all been that guy at tournaments before. I mean, I jumped into the pond on hole 11 at Dauphin Lake one year. I was so hammered. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a saint. You just kind of have to pick your spots, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that is it. Big shout out to Rubes for sending those in. Those are great. And I think that very useful for people. And like I said, this is a good resource for anybody out there, I think, just to use a refresher, I think, because there are things that everybody expects and thinks, but sometimes you just kind of get too far down a path and you start just like forgetting about stuff like this. So I think the more you can keep this stuff at the top of your head before an event, the better off it'll be.
Agreed.
Okay, so let's end. Reggie, we got about 5 minutes left here. We're trying to keep these to about an hour here, but let's end off with 2 things. Do you got anything before we go?
I'll save the stroke saver, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I can save it because I wanted to. I got to find a way. How do you think I should do this? Like, for example, this one tonight is it's like 2 pages long. Get all of it across, but
Yeah, we don't want to sit here for 2 pages.
no, I know.
So just summarize like a couple.
I'll start
key points
summarizing
of
it
it.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say read like a portion of it word for word, and then just kind of like give your own spin on the rest of it, and we can discuss it openly.
Okay.
So I would say 2 things here. I'm going to bring up this list of things for the course, the local knowledge, for pluck's sakes. Where is that thing? Very unprepared here, but we're an hour in, and everybody knows what happens at the end of some Kngdom episodes, especially after a couple too many beer. I don't know where this is, Reggie.
What's that?
I had a list of all the courses that were included in the. Might be right here. Yeah, it is. Okay. Now I got to find you again. There we go. Okay, so local knowledge. We're going to get this thing fired up in February. We're going to be reaching out to golf courses this week. And basically what we're going to ask of them is to share some stories about the course, a little bit of history, who has the course record there, what it is, who holds it, and talk about the feature holes. But the second part of that is we're actually going to be relying on the community, the people on Instagram, on YouTube's. And so what we want to do here is get some different tips, different just local knowledge about the course, that if somebody were to play there for the first time, what kind of information would be helpful to them. because that's the idea. We want to get people out to these courses, and we want them to have a decent idea what they're doing when they're there. So we have Deloraine, we have Rossman Lake, we have Melita, we have Bridges, Minnedosa, Verdon, Neepawa, Roblin, Killarney, Boissevain, Oak Island, Clear Lake, Wheat City, Gilbert Plains, Toulon, Birtle, Elmhurst, Glenborough, and our bonus, also known as the boner on here, Pine Ridge.
I thought of another thing too after I read your email today. I think another cool one would be like on dog legs, like what tree or what target to aim at.
Aiming
If you
point.
want to go for it, yeah, aiming point on like
Nice.
dog legs or yeah,
That's a good call.
good layup spots on par fives, like yeah.
So should we maybe include that for people who are sending in information?
I think we could make like honestly like a cheat sheet almost like for them to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So kind of
Yeah.
the idea here is that we are going to start looking for some sponsors too. So with this, like for an example of this would be in Verdon, if we're featuring their course one week on the show and on Instagram, we want to kind of get a sponsor for that show locally. So a business from Verdon, we're looking for just to sponsor the show. We also want to do kind of like a cumulative pot, I guess you'd say, for people who are sending in tips and helping out, make it more of a success. We want to do like a pot at the end. So part of the sponsorship money will go to like a grand prize for everybody who contributes a tip like that, like an aiming point, whatever it may be. And so that's the idea there. So if you do have basically what I'm asking here of people listening and watching is that if you do have any local knowledge from these courses, just start jotting it down, because this is going to kind of go pretty fast. We're going to start doing these every 2 weeks. And so start building up a little bit of a bank here of your local knowledge of these courses. So then once we're at that stage, you can just send it in, forget about it, and you can be entered into the draw and contribute to this local knowledge to get people out to your home course. So that's kind of the update there. We're going to start those, like I said, this month, maybe next week even.
And probably important to note too, it doesn't just have to be for your own course. If you have tips
Right.
that a course that you played at numerous times, don't be afraid to send those in. Don't think that you're just tied to your one home course either. Like you can send in for any course.
Exactly. And so for like Oak Island, Wheat City, Clear Lake, I think that those courses will have a lot of tips that we have to sort through, or that we get to sort through, I guess you'd say. So that's the local knowledge aspect of it. Pretty excited for that. Honestly, I think that's going to be a really good thing for the show and for people just to have a better idea of these courses if they actually get out there this summer.
Agreed.
So that's that. And the last part here is Prairie Scratch Tour. So we had a couple good entries into the fixture divot today. We're going to keep accumulating these as we go forward. So if you think of any, if you come across any of your pet peeves on the course, make sure you send it in to us, because these are my favorite part of the show here is the fixture divots, because it kind of lets people know, if they're doing this, their friends, their golf partners don't always tell them about it. And so
I feel like a lot of the times, you think yourself, and we've talked about this enough on here, but you think it's like it should be so obvious, and you think that somebody should know about it. But if someone's never been told not to do something, and their buddies that they golf with, it's always an awkward thing. Like you don't want to be the guy to tell them, so they go on every round thinking that, hey, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing right now, and nobody ever says anything to them. I mean, how are they supposed to know? And this is kind of just like a spot where we could say it on here without really throwing anyone under the bus, and people can listen to it that way.
Yeah, great.
I feel like there's so many instances like that. I mean, yeah, it's just it helps that way.
Great point, Reggie. So this segment is going to be sponsored by the Prairie Scratch Tour once again for 2024. So that's pretty exciting for us. and for Prairie Scratch. One thing I did want to throw out there for this specific show today is that their early bird pricing ends tomorrow. So they got that for their membership, their tour membership, which decreases some of your fees if you're planning on playing in a few of these events in the Prairie Scratch Tour. The tour membership includes your cash prizes, the PST tour gift, $100 value, reduced entry fees, a King Golf promo code, power carts and range balls provided at each event, water and protein bars provided during all rounds, and early entry into all 4 tour events this season, and a chance to participate in the inaugural Prairie Cup. So if you're interested, if you're a golfer in Manitoba, you want to hit the tour and get in on the Prairie Scratch Tour, makes sense. The $180 a year for the amateurs and $120 for the Legends Tour. So that ends tomorrow for the early bird pricing. And me and Reggie were talking about this yesterday. We are going to be, hopefully, if we can make it work. The plan, though, is to play in an event. So Bridge and I have already started training out here at Rossman Lake. She was driving behind me as I was running down the private road, getting ready for that event.
Okay, Rocky.
But it'll be fun. That'll be like the first, outside of the Tamarack, like the very first event that I played in solo in probably 15 years. So I'm looking forward to it, actually, as much as
maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that. So we haven't picked which one we're going to play in yet, but we will be playing in the same event just because it's what we do.
Damn right.
So anyways, this segment is sponsored by Prairie Scratch Tour. A big shout out to them. And this tonight's, it was sent in by our buddy from Deloraine, Jay Soonart. And his fix your divot tonight, something that bothers him on the golf course, is when someone stands directly behind you watching the line while you putt. Very distracting. What would you rather have? Somebody on the other side of the hole or directly behind you, or neither?
Neither. Probably on the other side of the hole.
Would you? I wouldn't. Because that's where I'm looking and I can see them kind of in my peripherals instead of like focusing on the hole. I can see them in there.
Yeah, I know. It's just so awkward when they're behind you.
I know.
Like so awkward. I think that if it's somebody who doesn't know, it doesn't bother me. If that makes sense. Like if it's somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, it doesn't bother me and they're not really looking for the line. But if it's somebody that you knows the rules of golf and knows not to do that and they do it just to piss you off.
What about if they're on your team though?
No, that doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I want to accidentally let go of my putter and chuck it right into their face when I pull it back. If they're behind me.
Like if you really do want to get a read there, I think that something that people might not know, and I think that we kind of take for granted, us and whoever's, pretty dialed into this, the podcast here. But one thing that you could do is if I'm a lefty and I'm putting and you're trying to get a read off of me, stand behind me where I can't see you over here, like behind my line of vision. And then as soon as I hit the putt, you can actually walk and look at the line from there. But while I'm putting, while I'm lining everything up, do not be right behind me or right behind the line. Sorry. You can be behind me and then sneak into the line right after I putt. But I just think golfers know that, but I just don't think that everybody knows that.
No, I don't think so either. It's very annoying though. So
that is the Fix Your Divot tonight, sponsored by the Prairie Scratch Tour and sent in by our good buddy Jay Soonart. So that concludes the show tonight. We don't have drums to round us out, but we will be back here. We posed the question, what is drums doing tonight earlier in the show? We do not know ourselves. He did not give an answer. He just said, I did not know it was Wednesday today. I will not be attending the show if there is a show tonight.
Wow, forgot it was Wednesday. I won't be there tonight. Okay. And that's why consistency's big. We shouldn't have taken last Wednesday off. Me and
Yeah,
Drum should
Drums
have
got
just
out of
done
routine.
it. Yeah. Hilarious though.
Okay, well, thanks once
Like
again,
we always
everybody.
say, you guys keep listening. We'll keep putting them out. We thank you for listening to our podcast. And good night, everybody.
Good night, folks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Are you ending on that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.